hello.
Well, hello there, Susie.
We are doing episode 691 today, which is not a great number. I think we can all agree.
Yeah, 691.
Creeping up on 700, and that's fun.
Yes.
How the heck are you?
I'm doing well. My birthday is fast approaching, and it's definitely making me feel older this year. I don't know why.
Probably because of that physical.
I know.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That was ringing in my ears. I kept thinking about that.
Yeah, and then I mean, it's just like, I was happy to get all the tests that, like, just like having all the information.
I do
and
love
knowing
that.
That felt really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also made me continue to, like, I don't know, I've been on like a take my vitamins, drink my green drink, kind of like kick, like routine.
Yeah, you're going to have to start taking that like Jamie Lee Curtis yogurt.
Yeah, like Activia.
To
keep me regular. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I'm totally headed
there's
towards
so much to think about.
I know. But yeah, so, you know, it's I feel like this time of year, I don't know, I like birthdays, you just are like reflective. And like, I realized in thinking about my birthday, you know, Eli and I were talking about, not even just my birthday, but like plans for the rest of the year and stuff like this.
Yes. And
I realized I had a lot of fear about planning for the future, way more than I ever realized I did.
You mean you're like non-committal?
Yeah, or maybe like fear that like almost like a what's the point? Because who knows what's going to happen kind of thing. Like there's no point in making plans. You know,
you mean with the world in general? Like maybe. The apocalypse?
I don't that personally, like it felt like maybe a lot of the plans that I made, you know, last year or year and a half, no, about last year, to like move to Denver, all of a sudden changed when my mom had her accident, you know, and then like plans to have like, you know, like before.
Yeah, what's that phrase? Like make plans, God laughs or something
right.
like
that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So it's more like make plans and Sarah panics now because I'm like, I can't do this. And like I had a full blown meltdown over like planning a trip, like picking dates to possibly go to Europe. Not possibly, we're going to go. See, I say possibly. Eli's like, what is this possible?
You're still not committed.
Right. I'm like, I can't, I don't know. Because I'm like, I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen?
When are you going?
Well, we're talking about like June or July.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know.
That's when we're going. We should like coordinate.
Oh, well, that's perfect. I was like, I don't know. What if I can't take, I don't know. I won't be able to take time off. I got to work. Susie doesn't, nobody's going. And now I'm going to have to book this trip because now you're going on a vacation too. We're both going to we're actually going to have to take a real vacation for the first time in like 8 years.
Yeah, right.
And you seem to be handling it better than I am. So
maybe I don't believe it either.
Yeah, maybe that's it. You're just in denial. Like, it's fine. We're probably just going to end up
probably won't work out.
Right. I was like, okay, make sure you plan it. Like, skip book club. Nope, can't do that week. We got documentary club. It will never work. We're not going to be able to go to Europe.
I think we should be allowed to do it every decade, do one trip, maybe.
Eli said the same thing. So
yeah, I would have to agree with him.
Yeah, this is good to hear from my boss.
Well, I knew that was on his mind because when we were in Denver, he kind of was hinting at that. Like, well, what if you want to go away or something? I'm like, well, you know, like we can pre-record and stuff, which is true. Like we can accommodate, but it's like probably that it's such a pain in the A that we're just like, no, I'll just stay in my house forever.
Who needs to go to Croatia?
The people need what the people need.
Right. We have to do a live Q&A, Eli. You don't understand. I was like, this is just the kind of job I have. Imagine like a radio host. Like they every day you got to go out. Who's going to do the morning news?
He's right. He's right.
No, he's totally right.
No, he's
this
right.
This is good. This is good. I need to hear this. So that we're working through that. I'm working through the whole, you know, because like, I don't know.
I appreciate your commitment though. But I appreciate your commitment to me.
Yeah. I'm like, nope, can't do it. Won't work. So funny.
Like, all right. Well, maybe this conversation will help you work through this stuff.
Yeah, maybe it will. Okay. That is already helping. I'm like, okay, good. Now Susie's going to Europe too. We'll just plan it and coordinate.
Yeah, my husband's like, maybe I could see my family once this decade.
Oh my God.
There's like babies that have been born we've never met.
Oh my God. You guys got to get out there. That's right.
The last time Lincoln went to see like his, cousins, he was like 5.
Gosh.
That's not normal.
Yeah. Well, we have.
There was a pandemic.
There was a pandemic. There were some things that got in the way. But it's crazy how maybe during that time, so much was unpredictable that I just signed up to just not I don't know, not have expectations or even thoughts about the future because it felt like it came with too much disappointment. But now I think maybe I overcorrected and can
I would like to look forward to something again.
Like it's okay. And then we know from everything we talked about here that some of the most exciting parts of a trip are planning for it.
True.
So I'm like taking away some of the joy that I could be having and like even just looking at these things because there's a part of me that's like, what's the point? What if Eli and I break up? What if we get into another pandemic? What if like another wave hits? What if we can't go? What if something I don't fucking know.
I don't know what you mean by another wave, but I was like, yeah, what if another wave
like
comes?
Like a wave of like COVID.
Oh.
like a wave of
I don't even a tsunami. I was like, yeah, what if we get another one of those?
I don't know. That could be an option. That's a possibility too.
Or spiraling.
100%. I don't know. It's
not good.
It's not good. It may be because I watched one of the most fucked up documentaries.
My God.
Susie.
What could
Stolen Youths Inside the Cult of Sarah Lawrence.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Tell me.
Prepare yourself.
For
Susie,
real?
I'm getting full-blown goosebumps. Like, I still have one episode to watch, too. And I almost
How many
watched
episodes are there?
3.
Okay.
And Eli and I have a strict bedtime, and we stayed up later to see a second episode because
hilarious.
I could not. I was like, this is too. I have to see this. And so did he. We both watched from like opposite ends of the couch with our hands like
Shut up.
With our mouths open.
What was the gist? Like, what was so shocking? What is the story for anyone that is not familiar?
So, freshman year, a group of kids, a group of friends move into one of these like on campus like housing where they each have their own room,
like
but it's like all the same.
Living,
like communal living. And
because there's like a common room or something, right? That was a focal point. Okay.
And they all start in this house on campus. And in that house, there's like 9 of them in the beginning. And in the beginning of the semester, one of the girls who lives there, her dad gets out of prison for violating his probation. And he ends up staying at the house. And it was almost like one of those like slippery slope, like he's just supposed to be crashing for a minute. Yeah. And and then all of a sudden he was there more often. And he created relationships with with individuals who definitely were vulnerable. We're talking 19-year-olds, first time away from home.
Sarah Lawrence is an all female.
No, I thought so too, but it's not. It's just it's like a very artsy liberal school. They definitely attract this is co-ed. The living situation is co-ed. There are, I think, 3 males in the house and like six females.
And he's connecting with these people. And is your sense that he is plotting this sort of
my sense
dominance?
Is he is somebody who gets off on the manipulation of others. So he has a background in like psychological ops, and he did like work in like connected to high level officials, things like that. He was like worked with like Gorbachev, and he worked with he was like a Russian mobster, and a really, really fucking bad guy. Okay. And he uses people as pawns. He uses people, manipulates people, gets off on being able to use mind control and psychologically fucking destroy people. And I have never seen somebody like, and the crazy thing is, this is like what you always say, these narcissists and people like this always document themselves and always videotape everything. There are audio clips of everything, and it is so well produced, and it makes me I get
got
chills.
to see it.
You cancel your plans this evening and do not let Lincoln in the room. It is fucking disturbing. And the worst, like you watch him psychologically tear these children apart and separate from, and it is like check down the list of, oh my God, I'm having like a total visceral reaction to even just thinking about this guy right now. Like check of all of the things that a cult leader does to completely brainwash, like strip somebody of everything that makes, everything that makes them an individual. He completely takes over their minds where they cannot. And you see how he literally does this to every person he comes in contact with. Even his, I don't even want to spoil it for you, but even his own attorney, like anyone he touches, he will psychologically manipulate for his own benefit to the most extreme that I have ever heard of anybody doing this. And I just saw the description of the last episode, and the last episode says, they like moved locations to another residence, and he said, it says in the description, like where he then performed what was arguably the most extreme.
Oh no, it's getting worse.
And I was like, it's going to be worse. There are some clips. You can't
get them out of your head.
I can't. You watch. There are two people, and you watch them psychologically just devolve, break. You watch them to the point where this one poor young man is convinced that he's done something wrong, but the guy but doesn't know what. And so he self punishes. You just see him slapping himself in the face. These were smart kids and he just really did steal an entire decade from people. It is absolutely fucking terrifying. And there were other students around who were saying this is not okay. This is fucked up. And people weren't doing anything. And how this guy was able to still be on campus even and stay there.
Yeah.
This is a real, and I was telling Eli, any time an adult man wants to be around anyone who is not in his own fucking age bracket, look out. That is a huge red flag. That is not normal. If he chooses that there is over one asterisk. Relationships.
Yeah.
There's one asterisk, which is?
Mr. Rogers.
Well, yes. But I would say that Mr. Rogers still maintained relationships with adults.
Oh, totally.
That is the thing. That if the adult prioritizes relationships with people who are not in his age, who are way younger. No. Fucking creep. Just
totally.
Just
trouble.
Just get. And I looked at Eli. I was like, I don't say this. I am not somebody who's but this guy, fucking kill him. Get rid of him. Get it. This guy should not be a human because he's destroying. It's like a web. It was so scary. I could talk about this for hours, but I need to take a deep breath.
I'll tell you what I could talk about for hours, and that is Thrive Cosmetics, which, by the way, I keep putting on. If you're watching the video, this is my Thrive lip stuff, and it is my new fave. What color is this? Melissa. Oh, that's fun. I don't know why it's called that, but it is amazing. It's called Sheer Strength. Wonderful stuff. My makeup artist was here the other day, and she saw all my Thrive stuff laying out, and she's like, oh, I love that mascara. And I was like, see, I knew it was good.
Everybody loves this mascara.
Even the pros love it. Mm-hmm. And when I had my best leses over the other day, they were doing that thing where they're like, is it really? I'm like, let's go look at my makeup bag right now.
Right.
It's just full of Thrive.
Thinking I need to do a before and after little reel of what it looks like. I tell you, I do it to Eli every time I put it on. I'm like, look at this. Look at this. Before is before. This is after. You know, and
yes,
the difference that this, because it is like having extensions on it is extension, like length.
Yeah, because it's like that tubing kind.
The tube around it won't flake. Won't get any of that like raccoon eye. It's impossible.
Isn't it funny? And like when we go into book club, they all tell us what of our partners they're using. That I have Thrive mascara on right now, and everybody loves it. It's so good. And then, like I said, the hydrating lip tint, the sheer strength is great. Eyeliner, the brilliant eye brightener is on my lids right now. Now is a great time to try Thrive Cosmetics for yourself. Right now, you can get 15% off your first order when you visit thrivecosmetics.com/braincandy. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/braincandy for 15% off your first order. Here's what I want to know about that Sarah Lawrence thing.
Yeah.
Number one, what does the daughter have to say about all this?
We don't know.
Why?
Yet. I don't know.
She's not in the documentary.
I think it's episode 3. Because I don't want to spoil it, but
you can spoil it.
I'm going to plug your ears for the next 30 seconds. There are 2 women who are still under his.
Oh my God! It's like the Keep Sweet documentary about the Warren Jeffs guy.
They don't want to leave.
They can't see it.
And Sue's. No, God, you have to see it. You have to see it. I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not even going to tell you this part about the what kind of people are. I mean,
it's just mind-boggling, is what you're saying.
I have no words.
Whoa, that's saying something.
Yeah, like I was
Sarah Louise Rice.
Like I'm gonna have to fucking sage my house when I get home because like it feels. Like Eli and I couldn't make eye contact for the rest of the night. We were just like, I'm not okay.
Wow.
It's so fucked up because you just feel like this.
It's scary what people can do with your brain. And you feel like you're in control and you're not.
Correct. And these were no dummies. Like this, you feel so devastatingly sad for their families. And, it's like they're in a cult. And when the family can't get them out, and wants nothing more to connect with them, but the person who's totally brainwashed them makes them think that their family are the bad ones.
Yeah.
It really reminded me of the documentary about the 6 who committed to the crime that they didn't do. Because this is very similar. This is very similar of people confessing to things. And it made me just think that our brains really will do whatever the brain needs to do, whatever it needs to do to keep us safe. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I heard once an unusual reaction in an unusual situation is a normal reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the plasticity of the brain can be really helpful in survival, but it can also backfire when you have someone sort of exploiting it to their advantage, which is what you see in cults and other, situations like that.
Yeah, and it just makes you like really question like who we let into our heads and what information we choose to believe and how there's like this still deep down feeling of like they know that something's not right, but they're like in too deep, and that is just so
That's
scary.
What I was saying about the sunken cost fallacy on our Things We Got Wrong episode. Once people invest, whether it's time, energy, money, whatever, sometimes it can be really hard for them to admit they've wasted whatever, a resource, and so they double down.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really hard to get people to leave cults. Think about what they've already given into them. Right. It's really hard to admit they fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, brutal.
Oh, yeah, that regret feeling. It's so bad. Okay, what else do I have to talk about? Yeah, definitely watch that, but like prepare yourself.
Okay.
And don't watch it with any children. Like, it's just like...
Is it sexual?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
It's everything... It's across everything. It's everything. they're like all the warning, like
all the
stuff,
trigger warnings. Yeah.
all of them. It's going to be bad. And you just, I'm very excited for episode 3 because it feels like we're like, the only thing that makes it feel good is like, I didn't Google it yet because I just don't want to know, but he's in prison and he's never getting out.
I hope so.
I fucking hope so. Unless he somehow manipulates the prison guards. Like he's like, should be locked. Oh, no, just like,
okay.
An accident happens.
Right. Gotcha.
Okay. Here's a news story that came out. I'm sure you've heard of this, which at first glance might make us all go, yay, but should make us all go, ooh, And that is that the average penis size has increased.
I did see that.
Significantly in the last
30 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some important things to point out that
Let's hear
this
it.
is not this is erect penis size.
Okay.
This is not flaccid penis size or stretched penis size, which does make a difference because it kind of leans to or hints that this is probably environmental or chemical or from an endocrine disruptor because it has to do with blood flow to that area, not the actual length of it.
Get out of town.
So cardiologists and people, this is raising concerns because there are some, there's, people who are saying that the kind of testing, how they did the testing, how they were measuring, these were not self-reports, obviously. These were all measured by doctors.
Thank God.
Yeah. Like, what are we measuring from?
Seems bigger.
Right. And, but it says that this is not necessarily a thing that we should be like super excited about. It could be pointed there being some.
So you're telling me
chemical exposure.
They did measure them flaccid and stretched.
Yes.
But those averages remain the same.
Correct.
And so there is now an increase in growers, not showers.
Correct.
But bad news is it's probably because of like plastics and whatever is disrupting the hormones that can affect blood flow.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
So, oh man.
Mm-hmm. And this kind of pushes back. There was also an idea that like penis length somehow related to like fertility, but that's not correct. And
because
really
that's the thing
know.
Is those same plastics and endocrine disruptors have been shown to have a negative impact on fertility in men's sperm count, and
we are seeing that.
And so it's like making big penises that can't do shit.
Correct. And we don't really know why, so it could be that there's something with blood flow. There's something about like, I don't know, certain hormones, or we really don't know.
Man.
And this was an international study, which I thought was interesting too. And I think it's important to look at how things may be different
regions.
In countries that have different standards, and how just even like the percentages that's changed. It said that American males' penises ranked 59th in the world.
What do you mean by that? You mean in length?
They were the average length, was shorter than Haitian, French, Aussie. They were 59.
Not in your experience.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Remember French?
Oh my God.
Frenchie.
Smallest ever.
Yeah, you got unlucky on that one.
Yeah. I don't think he would have included himself in that study. Yeah.
Remember when we had to convince Eli about the order of penis sizes? Because it goes, like, according to the stats I've seen, it was black, Jewish, white, Asian. I don't know where Latino landed on that, but he was in denial. He's like, I don't think that's true. And I'm like, have you never heard the phrase big Jewish wang?
It's like, no. And then I told him, I was like, how do you know? Have you seen a whole bunch of penises? He's like, yeah, I showered like at school with like my football team and everything. I was like, oh yeah, in your all Jewish community?
Yeah, he had nothing to compare it to.
Right. I was like, you're just comparing it to other people who are Jewish.
Yeah.
He has no comparison. And I tell him this.
I think it's so interesting. And size does not matter. And again, not to talk about Hitler's micropenis again, but it seriously doesn't. If you happen to have a micropenis or whatever, hey, what do they say? It's not the size of the something, it's the bubble
motion in the ocean.
Yeah.
Size of the boat, it's the motion in the ocean. It doesn't matter about Hitler's penis. It did matter that he was Hitler. So he's not getting laid by me for other reasons.
Yeah, let's quit talking about him.
Let's be really clear. Because apparently there was some confusion last time. Come on, people.
Right. Mm-hmm. But okay. Well, that's a good news, bad news story you brought us today.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally
don't want guys to go getting excited and being like, pun intended. And then, be like, oh, look at, because like it might be a not so good thing. Kind of like breast size increasing.
Oh, yeah.
We've been saying there's like more hormones in the food.
Oh, yeah. And like puberty's hitting so early now.
Yes.
I said that to my husband, like, because they do sex education usually in 4th and 5th grade. And I swear a lot of the girls could have already started their period by then at this point. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 5th grade was when mine started.
Oh, wow. You were early, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You must have hated that.
Hated it. Oh,
I'm sorry. That's a bad. But you got that like party and your brothers were like celebrating with candles and stuff.
I remember. My aunt was babysitting and my period started and I told my aunt, my brother lit a candle and said, congratulations, you're a woman. It was so cute.
I cannot believe that. We could not have come from different families. I still haven't told my mom I got my period. That is wild.
Yeah. I will say, like, to give Eli credit, he and I think it's like he has a sister who's very close in age to him, and they were like might as well have been twins. They grew up together, and she must have been open about things and talked to him because he is so understanding.
He's comfortable.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's nice.
It is the best to have a partner who's like gets it.
Yeah.
So really, nice. I have like all the females that have ever been with Eli or around, like in his, all of his like siblings or mom. I have them to thank for a good job teaching him the lessons that. So I think it's good to teach kids that because I'm sure my brother will be the same way with his partners.
I would say another thing to teach kids about is how to handle money. And
oh God, I got none of these lessons.
I sure didn't either.
None. So I need all the help I can get.
Yes, and thanks to Chime, you are in luck because I swear they help people smile more. They were just named the #1 most loved banking app. You can get a payday.
Who loves their banking app?
Right. Right.
This is great
to be
news.
fair, it's a low bar, but still.
Right.
I mean, to have anyone even like you at all is amazing. You can get your payday up to 2 days early and have fee-free overdrafts up to $200. They offer financial peace of mind in your wallet with no annual fees, large security deposits, or credit checks to apply. See for yourself why Chime is so loved at chime.com/braincandy. That's chime.com/braincandy. Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank. NA members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit funds depends on payer, SpotMe eligibility requirements, and overdraft limits apply. See chime.com/SpotMe. Chime was the 2021 #1 most downloaded banking app in the U.S. according to Apptopia. I had a friend text me and say that they thought of the Micro Machine commercials. Do you remember that?
No.
When we were growing up, the Micro Machine commercials had this guy that was in the world record book.
He was always on Sesame Street. I loved that guy.
Yeah.
He's so cool.
He was so cool. And like, hey, maybe I could train and become a speed talker like he was.
You thought that?
He made a whole career. She said that to me. She was like, "You're like the next Micro Machine guy."
I used to think I could do that, which I think both of us have
still
done
think you
on
could.
Here.
And I feel like if we put our mind to it, Sarah, we could get in the world record book.
Oh my God, world record for fastest talkers.
That'd be so good for the podcast. Like, talk about good press.
And like, I bet they don't have a dual, like, fastest talker pair. I bet there's an individual, but like.
That is so true. And you know how you can kind of like apply
people to perform a monologue, like to do, or like a dialogue, like together.
Yeah. We could do some Shakespeare thing.
Yes. Yep.
I love this idea.
You know, a comedian friend, Rachel Shaw, Robin Shaw, excuse me, from Instagram. She had a great video come out during the pandemic about like a list of like goals that were all
for 2020.
For 2020.
Yeah.
And like, it was like spend more time with my grandparents. And then she's like, both of them are dead. And it was so funny. And so like
all of her goals
like,
for that year were totally ruined by the pandemic.
Totally. Yeah. So she's so wonderful and amazing. Shout out to you, Robin. And, she creates with her fans this like on like list of goals, like things that they want to accomplish in the next year. And they're crazy things. Like one was like Zoom call with Oprah, and she ended up doing it. And like,
how did she do that?
Because Oprah loved her video, and then she ended up like meeting Oprah and like all these things where you'd think no way, like having her face in Times Square. Got it. Like done. She's like checking stuff off the list. And I'm like, maybe we should start doing this. And,
wow.
And one of the things that she did was get a Guinness Book of Records. So she's got it on her list. And I'm like, wow, maybe we need to up our game and have a Brain Candy Guinness Book of Records entry.
Yeah, what are we waiting for?
Yeah, I wonder what other things we could win. What kind of things
maybe
could Sarah
our listeners could submit ideas.
Submit ideas for what kind of Guinness. What records could we hold?
I was going to be self-deprecating, so I'm not going to say anything.
No, so I'm going for like most.
You're the opposite.
Like
Sarah is self-appreciating.
Yeah, like most awesome episodes of a podcast, back to back.
Right. I always hate those ones. Like, there's some TikToker that does all those like biggest hoagie ever made or whatever. Right. And it just, I don't know, it feels so wasteful.
Yeah. I mean, there should be a caveat to their like little asterisk that says must be consumed.
Yes.
Like it must be for human consumption.
Because he's like, we donate it. We donated it to a food bank. But I'm sorry, nobody wants the biggest sushi roll ever.
No.
At a food bank.
Could you imagine? Imagine?
Like, I'm just here for some rice and beans. Like, come on, weirdo.
You could have the corner eighth of the sushi roll. That little corner over there for your rice.
But it's sort of what you were talking about, that article in The Atlantic about how nuance is not what the internet does. It's it's all about hyperbole and extreme stuff. And so you have to have the biggest pizza or the biggest sushi roll or whatever. Right. And come on.
Right. I feel bad for those like influencers get trapped into like, you know, my favorite color is pink. And next thing you know, they got an entire pink house they're living in. And it's like, did you even want to live here? Like,
I don't think you thought this through.
No, I don't think a lot of people do. So you're right, at extremes. So we'll just stick with fast talking.
Most nuanced, fast talking.
Oh, okay. We have time for more stories, right? Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. You don't have your clock. So
no idea.
We need to like get you a little thing.
This was really interesting. So I was at dinner. My brothers and we all went out for dinner the other night. And, you know, sometimes when the Rice family gets together, we talk more like at each other than with each other, just with facts, because like, you know,
oh my God,
that's like how we
You're
are.
all
like,
declarative.
Did you know this?
Oh
totally.
My God.
Did you know this? Did you know this? And then we just like talk about that. That's like our conversations, what they often look like. So my brother Luke was talking.
I just wanted to interject because in my family, it's all, I'm not lying. It's all questions. Like everybody is asking questions.
This makes sense.
We need to meet together and we'll ask and you guys answer.
Yes, that's all my family. And we are all have no filter. And so we'll answer. I mean, like,
that's so funny,
yep,
Sarah.
100%. That's how it goes. Just tell you facts about things. And so my brother Luke said, we were talking about beards, and we were laughing about how, like, I've got one brother that can't stop growing hair, and the other brother who couldn't grow a beard to save his life.
Yeah.
And how we were talking about, like, what the purpose of beards are. So my brother Luke says that there was a study that was done on beards, on people were looking like, what is the evolutionary, like, purpose? Like, why do we have facial hair?
It's about scent or something, right? Is that a myth?
No, you were more correct. That is definitely one of the more accurate theories, because there was some false information going around. And my brother stated this, so then I had to fact check, because I was like, this is fucking perfect for the podcast. And then after fact checking, it was like,
okay.
So there was some study that didn't have very good,
credibility.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
My research methods professor is like, internal and external credibility, validation, Sarah. Or validity, that's the word. And it said that beards, or it theorized that beards helped absorb a punch, that your jaw was less likely to get broken.
Stop, like padding.
And the reality was that there was truth to that. It does stop, but it would be very.
You need a really thick beard.
Yeah, you need a really thick beard. You'd also need to, like, ensure that the hit came from the same angle.
Because sorry, it would be like Hagrid's beard, I think, would be pretty good at protecting you. But what's that real nice guy's name with the long white beard? The guy that is the Albus Dumbledore.
Yeah. Yes,
Dumbledore. His beard, what's good that's going to do?
No, little wispy things, that not absorbing anything. Yeah.
Okay.
And there was also some info about, like, the way a punch would hit, where it came from, that it wouldn't necessarily help in the way that we think it would. So that was kind of debunked. But it did lead me to look, and it is, you're more correct, that the other theories for why we have them are about, like, pheromones and things like that. But I want to connect this to another study that I had stumbled across a couple days before, that was a theory about why we have curly hair, why curly hair is a thing.
Okay.
And maybe there is a connection between the two, and we could just kind of, hypothesize.
Okay.
So a study was done to look at what the difference in heat regulation and temperature, like thermal regulation, was with people with hair, no hair, curly hair, a whole bunch of different things.
Okay.
So we know that a bald person is going to be more exposed, obviously, to heat, but they're also going to have a harder time regulating their own temperature, because they lose so much heat from the top of their head.
Yeah.
And they're so exposed that it sweats more. So the study was done where they took a model, a mannequin with sensors in it and everything, and put different wigs on the model and left them out in the sun, and then measured, like, how much sun exposure, how much heat radiated through. And curlier hair had less heat radiating through and maintained more moisture. So, like, kept the sweat in. So it kept you dry. It helped you thermoregulate. And again, this is just a very preliminary study that there was, like, even the article I read said, we're going to need a little more than, 3 wigs and some mannequins to, like, be able to say,
one thing at a time.
But I thought if you kind of combine this information with, like, a thick beard and, which often are curly and curlier, that it could have to do with heat regulation and, like, regulating temperatures. Because I look at, like, my brother's hair even, and my brother that has a harder time growing hair has more of those, like, kind of like Scandinavian features. And my other brother has more of, like, the Russian, like, that side features where it's like thick hair and you can kind of like see maybe where temperature differences or
because I was trying to think of like parts of the world where they have less of an ability to grow, big thick beards, and I would say Asia would. They're not known for being able to grow that kind of hair.
Yeah.
Is that true? So like northern.
Yeah.
Huh, that's so weird because if I just off the top of my head guessed, I would think it would keep them warm.
Keep you warmer, but it has more to do with heat loss, like being exposed to the sun and not being able to cool down.
Totally.
That you're able to stay cooler with
because that's why, what do they call
curly
it?
Hair.
Swarthy?
Oh, I don't know that
like
word.
in the Mediterranean, swarthy, like has hairy chest and just sort of a hairy guy.
You mean my type?
Basically.
Yes.
And so they are in hotter climates.
Uh-huh.
Who would think that? I would not have guessed. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. So I just thought like those two, they were separate studies. They were separate things that I read, but we know the beard punching in the face study was.
Well, and Jewish gals tend to have curly hair more often,
mm-hmm.
and they tend to come from hotter climates,
mm-hmm.
Middle East,
mm-hmm.
Israel, all that. And so this is really adding up.
And
you're doing good.
Any kind of textured hair. Like Africa.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Okay, because I would not have said that. I bet
you wouldn't. Yeah, right. It would go that you would totally, and that's what they said in the study, that you'd think the opposite. That they really did think that having more, it was more like to insulate you.
Yeah, like a bear.
It is the opposite. It is almost to like hold sweat in so that you can stay cool and that you can help with thermoregulation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whenever Adam has had to work, like he did a documentary in Death Valley, like you counterintuitively cover up because you don't want the sun hitting your skin and all that.
Yeah.
So you wear long sleeves and you pretty much cover your whole body, like in the deserts of the Middle East as well, with those long robes. And
so it makes sense that more hair. Yeah. Right.
Gotcha. You're doing the Lord's work. I'll tell you who else is doing the Lord's work, and that is Rocket Money, my new favorite thing in the whole wide world. Rocket Money, I have this app on my phone, and it lets me track my money. So what's coming in, what's going out, what am I spending, what is my budget, am I over budget? And my favorite thing about it is it helps you identify all those subscriptions that you forgot to cancel, or maybe you think you don't want anymore, and they'll help you handle that. They will help negotiate lower bills for you. I've saved hundreds, I am not exaggerating, on things like my New Yorker subscription and my Sirius XM radio subscription. They're able to find opportunities for you to get a lower rate on those subscriptions. It is crazy. I've seriously saved hundreds of dollars. You should try it for free for 30 days because you'll get enough time to really see how awesome this service is. I've told my sister, I told all my friends, you got to try it. I got my mom signed up. Stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way. And it is super easy by going to rocketmoney.com/braincandy. That's rocketmoney.com/braincandy. rocketmoney.com/braincandy. It is awesome. I think you have time for maybe 10 more minutes, Sarah. 15 even.
Oh, this is great. Okay. Then this was one that I meant to talk about in our episode where I was talking about the crazy stuff that was happening at the zoo.
Yeah.
This was like the craziest one of all. And I didn't even get to mention it.
Yes. What is the story?
So apparently there is a zoo down in Mexico in, I can't remember where. Guero? Something like
Guadalajara?
that. No. Starts with a G. Guerrero. Guero, something like that. I can't remember what it is. I think it's something. Maybe my spelling is wrong, but it was the same. Whatever town it is shares a name with a Beck album. You know the artist Beck.
Yes.
There's a song on that same album that shares the same name. I can't remember what it is.
Okay,
it's the same city in Mexico, and the zookeeper there has been accused.
No, I don't even know why I'm upset already.
You will be serving up 4 of the zoo's pygmy goats for Christmas dinner.
At his house?
Oh, yeah. To unsuspecting.
Stop.
Uh-huh.
Stop it.
Uh-huh. The goats went missing at the zoo, and guests report that that's what he served for dinner. He claims that this is not true and that people are trying to but he's in trouble for a whole bunch of shady shit.
I love that he says it's not true. That's my favorite part.
He says that there's been a whole bunch of questionable things that have been happening at the zoo. Like, he sold a zebra and then claims that he sold the zebra in exchange for tools that were needed for the zoo, but they've investigated and cannot find any new tools. So it sounds like he's just selling off the animals at the zoo and then pocketing the money.
He's sick and tired of taking care of these creatures.
Something. The director at the zoo in Mexico, in this city, is just wilding out.
I changed my mind. My favorite part is that he served it at Christmas dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the opposite of Tiny Tim or something.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
New Year's Eve dinner.
Oh, that's not as funny, but I'm still happy.
There were 5 females and 5 males, of which the former director had 4 male specimens used at the New Year's Eve dinner. He says those specimens were sacrificed and cooked in the facilities of the same zoo and were used as food in the year-end celebration. He added that the health of those who ate the meal would have been put at risk because the animals were not suitable for human consumption.
Why not?
I don't know. Apparently,
what determines that?
Some goats aren't. I know, or maybe it's like how they cleaned it. Like if it would, who knows? I don't know.
So
it says that he traded 4 cattle in exchange for materials, tools, and supplies, but then there was no delivery of the cattle in accordance to protocol. And then there were no materials or tools found on the premises. And yeah, he says that it's a dirty war for control of the zoo's budget.
Okay, so you're telling me that this guy is saying, hey, I didn't do it. These people are just trying to get my job or something. Like they're trying to, it's like a coup at the zoo.
It's a coup at the zoo.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Why would anyone do that? Why would anyone want that job so bad?
I don't know. Or the money that comes with, maybe it's just, I don't know. It sounds like there's shady stuff going on.
Sure does. Mm-hmm. Remember when you told us about
Guerrero? Yeah, I did spell it right. Guerrero.
Remember when you told us about, or maybe I told you about the Pablo Escobar's hippopotamus lake or whatever?
The cocaine hippos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, people and animals are freaking weird.
Weird. And it's always the narcissists with the animals too, like, because they think that they have some power or control over them, which feels like this what this was.
Totally.
And is like, I'm going to serve you something that you don't know what it is. It's kind of like that guy who served like tacos that were humans or whatever, his own leg.
Oh my God.
That guy.
Okay. So if you were, let's just say hypothetically, you were trapped at the zoo.
Oh yeah. Which animal am I eating first?
That's the question.
Excellent question. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for something that would be the easiest to break down, because I'm going to go, I can't be like learning how to like.
What do they call that?
There's a name for it.
There is a name.
Obviously. It starts with dressing the animal.
Oh, Lord. That sounds way better than it is.
Yeah, it does.
What if you just
considering
put
you're doing
them?
The actual opposite?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Dressing them down.
Yes.
Okay, so you want something that's manageable.
Yeah.
Like a Cornish hen.
I see. Then you run into the feathers. That's what I'm doing. Like my instinct would be to go to bird, but then I have to deal with feathers, and I have no fucking clue how to pluck the feathers. I mean, one at a time seems.
Yeah, there's got to be a better
way. Even when the
way.
animal's dead. So I think I would go with something like, this is going to sound crazy. And it almost feels like I'd be like, yeah, we don't need you anyway. And it's either you or me. I'm going with the python.
What?
You cut off his head. It seems like killing him wouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah.
then I feel like I'd have a lot of food. I feel like the snake meat probably has like a good protein to fat like ratio. Like it's probably good.
Man, you really do not want to deal with animal bones.
No, I don't. No, I definitely don't. And I do understand skeletons have a full skeletal structure. Not skeletons, snakes have a full skeletal structure and all that I would have to deal with as well.
It's like soft stuff, though.
Yeah, I feel like this would be easy.
Honest to God, that would be one of the last ones I'd eat.
And then I wouldn't have to worry about it eating me. Because that'd be the animal I'd be most afraid of eating me at the zoo.
Not lions.
No, fast. That's quick.
Stop it. This is the best game I've ever played with you.
That's fast. That's like chop chop. And they literally go for the jugular. Like that's where that expression comes from. Like the cat's like, I will kill this thing in one move so it doesn't suffer and so I don't have to work that hard.
They have the same feelings that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
that's
trying to do the same thing.
Sympathetic, like compassionate murderer I am looking for at the zoo to kill me if I'm going to be eaten.
Okay, wait. Let me think of another one.
No, you have to answer now. What's yours?
Well,
who are you killing? I mean,
I would probably go.
Hang on a sec. What zoo has Cornish game?
I know. That's why I was like, wow, she's just going with that, even though I was joking.
Whoa.
I would probably go with a bird, though. I don't mind the feathers like you do. I mean, that seems like a small price to pay to not have to behead a snake.
Chop, chop. It's like, don't they say just take the head off the snake? That's an expression too.
That?
I don't know. Cut the head off snake.
That's an expression.
That's an expression, right? Sounds like can't be that hard.
I bet you the worst one would, like, in terms of flavor and texture, gotta be a hippo with that like rough skin.
Don't you imagine it being rubbery?
Yeah,
and it would take forever to get through that hide. Yeah,
you'd need to like use its teeth to get into its skin.
Definitely, yeah.
Maybe a tiger would be delicious.
I feel like that would be like meat, like gamey. Like it wouldn't taste good. Right. Like it's like too muscly.
You know what? This zookeeper probably had the right idea. I mean, the pygmy goat. It's pretty close to actual food.
Right.
They eat that in Jamaica.
Yeah. That's it. It's kind of messed up because the only way we can answer this is like asking people
to ask the psychos.
Right. Yeah. People who have eaten exotic animals, which I don't think is legal.
Yeah. And there's probably a reason that we don't do it. It's probably not tasty anyway.
I think a bear would taste good.
Yeah, and I thought that would be kind of like a mercy killing because those guys do not want to be in there.
You're right. They don't. Mercy killing. That's fine.
Okay, so maybe bear appetit. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Good. Yeah.
Oh, God.
I bet nobody else thinks about this.
But they should, because it is a fun game. Like next time with your friends, you ask them
which animal you're locked in. This is life or death, really. life or death situation. You're locked.
I truly cannot believe you said a python, though. That is blowing my mind.
Because when you imagine, think about movies where people have been trapped somewhere or stranded and they have to kill something. It often seems like a snake is a go-to and not that difficult. Like it feels like shish, like a kebab. You just like, all right, and then like skewer and rotate. Like just like, it seems like it's designed to go on a like, what do you call it? A spit above the fire.
Yeah, right. Just right down the middle.
Yeah. Like kind of make it like swirl it all up and then you just stick it through. Like, yeah.
Like the medicine symbol, like the,
yes.
With the snake wrapped around it.
Just wrap it around. Perfect. And you can use its own fangs to like hook itself onto the top.
That's so
Seems like the ideal thing to eat now.
It really
Has anybody eaten snake and would like to report back and tell me how it tastes? I'm sure somebody out there has. That
Adam
seems like
has had snake blood.
What?
A shot of snake's blood.
What?
When he Adam was on this show called Destination Truth, and he was the sound guy, but he had to be on camera too because they were like hunting ghosts and stuff.
Yeah.
around the world. And in one of the places they went to, that was offered to them as like, kind of like Anthony Bourdain style, where to turn it down would be rude.
Right.
But like, can you imagine?
Did his penis grow or something?
Maybe that explains a lot. But I don't think I could do it. Like, you know, on the challenge when we watch the food things, sometimes those things seem the hardest to me.
Eating things?
Yes, it's so gross.
Oh, I have no problem with eating it.
Really, Sarah?
None.
What about texture?
No. I just, no.
Why?
No
What's your
problem.
secret?
I just swallow it whole. Because I have the no tonsil thing. So everything can kind of just like, boop, pop right down there. And I'll just don't even chew.
Like that's
just
what you would do
swallow.
with the Carolina
Bite,
Reaper.
swallow. Yeah. Didn't even chew it. Just bite it, swallow it. Get things to about the size of a grape. That's like the size I could swallow whole. And so I just get a bite-sized piece and just swallow. And then if it's anything weird, like, and then you learn like what things that I remember the challenge, Rivals 3, where we had to choose between brains and balls. And it was like, do you want to eat testicles or do you want to eat brains?
Yeah. What's your logic here?
Brain, there was way more brains and there were just 2 little balls. And a lot of the guys were like, I'm not eating balls. Like people like couldn't get over like the and this is so silly. Like this wasn't the first challenge where I've eaten a testicle. And so I was like, oh, I got this. Those are not that bad. Those are like, you just have to get through the exterior, like there's a little bit of a bite on the outside. And then,
that's so great.
Kind of meaty in the middle and not bad. And there's not that much of it. Easy swallow whole. The brains, a lot of people said yes to because they were like, oh, brains. No, that's like, it's such a weird texture. It's like jello-y and like cottage cheesy and like also like oatmeal too in a weird way. It's like lumpy and it's not, and it's weird. So that I just avoided certain textures that I knew weren't gonna. And when we had the choice,
fact that you know all that is
right.
Really
so that's exactly
disturbing.
what I thought. I remember pulling up to that station, and I had the thought about the thought.
You had like,
and I was like, I had the awareness where I was like, my first instinct was, oh, don't go with that one because that one is going to be not good from the past time this was available as an option. And I was like, the fact that I know that is so fucking weird. What the hell life did I sign up for? And I had that awareness in that moment of like, this is so weird.
Yes.
Nobody else has to choose between those two things and then has some past experience like, oh.
Right. You know which body part to eat.
Right.
Let's wind it down.
Let's wind it down.
I mean, well, I have to watch Stolen Youth.
Have to.
Definitely doing that.
You're not. Everything I'm saying is not going to prepare you for how it's going to blow your mind, Suze.
Yeah, it will, because I've read about the crime and what happened, but I think it's hard to conceptualize like mind control.
It is very, and it's. You imagine they did such a good job with the documentary. You really imagine what it would be like to be what I think is like a child in that situation. Like when you're 19, you're a kid. Like you're so susceptible to the.
That's what I went on the challenge when I was 18, and I mean, I think it's a miracle things didn't work out worse for me because. I was so impressionable, so inexperienced and naive, and so darn young. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess pat on the back for me, not
big time,
a bigger screw up than I am.
Well, and I think your desire to continue your education and your love for learning really like keeps you grounded and kept you like.
Thank God for that. Same with you, right?
I mean, that's it. It's like, you know.
We had a firm foundation in terms of our basic personalities, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
We also learned about penises growing, but it's a good news, bad news.
Good news, bad news, you know, but like get out the measuring tape. I always wanted to do that to somebody.
Oh, I've done that with Adam. I needed to know because he has a giant wiener, and I was like, I need to know.
Oh, you can text me later.
Yeah. I don't know. Because it's just like, the truth is, I mean, right in the middle, I think, is the answer. Too big or too small can maybe not work with your body, the mechanics of it.
Right.
But just a nice middle of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the purpose of beards was enlightening. That was interesting.
Question mark. Still don't. We know that it's not to take a punch.
Unless you're...
Did learn.
What's his face? Hagrid.
Yes, unless you're Hagrid, in which case it will help. We did learn that curly hair helps with thermoregulation.
That's good for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, my God.
I'm always hot and sweaty.
Things are wild at the zoo, literally.
Yeah. That zookeeper's just eating goats. And we want to hear what your number one animal that you would pick.
Find out.
I have to hear this. This is interesting.
Somebody's going to say one and we're going to be like, oh, we should have said that.
Definitely. 100%. That'll happen.
I can't tell you how much it helps us when you folks use our codes for all of our partners, or when you share like our TikToks or tag us and stuff. It is so helpful because the podcasting industry is ever changing and it's ever noisier by the day. And so anything you can do to support us is so appreciated.
We love it.
And we love you. And we'll see you next time. Bye everybody.